How do you become successful? It's real simple. It's work your ass off. That's how you become successful. There's no easy button. If there's an easy button, everyone would find it. It's truly as simple as doing the things that other people aren't willing to do. And I'm not by a lot, by just a little bit. It doesn't take a ton of effort to be better than the next person. A lot of people are trying to hit that easy button. Don't be that person. Also, depends on your measure of success. What's your criteria for success? Is it money, fame, fortune, happiness, a family? All of those take time and effort, and you have to put the effort in, and you have to put the work in to be successful in any one of those. Marriages, friendships, jobs, school. I would like to think I'm successful in my eyes. Am I an Elon Musk? No, don't want to be. I'm successful in my marriage. I'm successful in my job. I was successful at school. I was successful at sports and athletics. I was never the best. I tried to be, but I was never the best. But I also knew I put the effort into where I could succeed, where I could have impact. Find the gaps in your job, in your school, in your family, and fill them 1% at a time. You don't have to fill the whole thing. You just have to be successful in what you do every day, having impact in every level of your life. And if you don't want to do that, you're not going to be successful. You're going to take the easy route, the lazy route. My first IT job, if you want to call it that, was working for a company called MCI WorldCom. Some of you guys listening to this have no idea who that company is, and that's okay. You probably don't have gray hair like me. Back in the day, we used to have things called long distance calling. You just didn't have a cell phone and you called whoever you want and didn't worry about the minutes. You actually had to use a landline and dial in numbers. And sometimes those numbers were local and they didn't cost anything. But a lot of times if you wanted to call your girlfriend if you lived far away or your family, it was long distance and there was a per minute charge. And companies made billions of dollars charging long distance. I worked for MCI WorldCom in Colorado Springs. That was my very first IT job. My very first IT job, I was putting up monitors, hooking up printers, pulling cable. It wasn't glamorous by any means, but I tried to be the best at it. I even had to wear a tie to work. I was pulling cables through dirt and it was ridiculous, but I worked hard at it. So much so that I actually applied to ESPN and Jesse Myers, for some reason gave me a shot. And I tried to do my best there. Was I the best at the job? No, there was plenty of smarter guys than me there, but I put the work in, I put the effort in, and then I started working for a company called Citrix. You probably heard of them as well, if you're a nerd like me. And I put the effort in to be the best I could be. I was an Exchange administrator. I loved email back in the day. That was the first collaboration tool we all really used was email. We still do, but it's not the first level you go for collaboration probably. Probably chat is, but that's another topic. And I was the best Exchange troubleshooter I could possibly be. I worked very, very hard at it. I was proud of my skills. So much so that I interviewed at Microsoft. And Microsoft gave me a job. Microsoft took a shot on me after Citrix. And I remember being so excited and studying super hard and trying to be the best Exchange support engineer I could possibly be. And the very first day I walked into the job, they're like, hey, that Exchange job you had, I'm here to report for it. They're like, it's no longer existing. You're a networking guy now. And I thought to myself, I know nothing about networking. And they're like, that's okay. Here's a book. You're going to be on the phones in 2 weeks. That was a humbling experience. Because all of a sudden, I was the best at my job where I was at MCI WorldCom. I was one of the best at my job at ESPN. I was one of the best at my job at Citrix. And now I'm walking into Microsoft, and I want to be the best at my job. It didn't take long to find out I was not the best at my job. One, I was doing something that I had never been trained to do. Two, there were people doing it for years and years and years before me, and they were way better at it than me. So talk about swallowing your pride and getting your ego bruised. Working for Microsoft was painful. And in 2 weeks, I basically studied for 2 weeks in this Windows TCP/IP networking book that was probably 400 pages. And I was trying to just read it and understand it. And then I got put on the phones and I got to be in the queue, the support queue. And I got to start taking network support calls. And I had no idea what the hell I was doing. But thankfully, there were people around me that did. When you think you're the best at your job, one of the hardest things to do is ask for help. You quickly learned at Microsoft that you needed to ask for help a lot, which was pride swallowing and ego blowing. But I put the time in. I put the effort in. I became really, really good at closing networking cases. It took years, but I got to be pretty good at it. There was a time that the networking team owned UCAS. This is back in the 2000 years, and Microsoft had the networking team own what they called LCS 2003. If you know what that is, you're old like me. LCS 2003 was like the first instant messaging platform that Microsoft had. That's actually not true. Microsoft Messenger and Exchange 2000 was the first, and then Microsoft saw they could make revenue off of it and parse it out into LCS 2003. As the networking team, you got to support that application. And then there was LCS 2005 and LCS 2005 SP1, and it just started building on instant messaging and then audio and video. And then there was live meeting with web conferencing and audio conferencing. And the networking team was, forgive me if you were on the networking team of Microsoft, they were stuck in their ways. They wanted to just do Wireshark and Netmon traces, and that is it. Every LCS case and not everyone, but a lot of LCS cases came to me because I was the rookie. There was a guy named Tom Laciano on the team, and he kind of became my mentor. I don't know if he knows this or not, but he was the LCS guru. He was the LCS kid. He knew everything about LCS. I don't know if he remembers this, but I used to sit over his shoulder. We used to read SIP traces in Notepad. That's how archaic this was back in the day. And then we had this text analyst tool that came out, and we thought, oh my God, we could solve everything. It had color codings and filters and stuff like that. And we used Netmon and we used Wireshark to fix all of these problems. And it was super complicated. There were hardware load balancers, there was pools, there was directors, there was home servers and DMZ servers and Axie proxy servers. You had to trace all these different routes, and you became really, really good at it, or you failed. That's pretty much how it was. But the point is, I put the effort into it. I put the time into it. And I became really, really good at being a network engineer as well as an OCS. Oh, that was after LCS. OCS came after LCS 2005. Then there was OCS 2007, I think. And then there was Link 2010. And then came along Skype, and then came along Teams. The whole time I was a network engineer and a development engineer and a Microsoft consultant, deploying this stuff, designing this stuff, architecting this stuff. And I got to be really, really good at it. You know why? Because I put the damn effort in. I tried to be better than everybody else, that's kind of the corporate way. You have to show impact all the time. I became successful because I put the effort in. There was no easy button. Sometimes you were by yourself in the field trying to fix something. You were in a cold data center late at night, and it was you and you alone. You had to be a great problem solver. You had to be a detective. You had to be analytical. Those are all the things that make you better. And I failed a whole bunch. I remember there was this time that there was this kid from Harvard. He was looking over my shoulder, and I was fixing these problems. And he's like, how do you do that so fast? And I said, because I screwed it up 50,000 times before they found the right way. You can't be afraid to fail. You can't take the safe route. You have to take risks. This is how you be successful. I got tired of being an escalation engineer, so I became a deployment engineer at Microsoft, otherwise known as a Microsoft consultant or MCS. And I became really, really good at that too, because again, what did I say already? I put the effort in. I took risks. I wanted to be the best. I saw gaps that needed to be filled. And guess what? To fill those gaps, I had to step up and do something uncomfortable. I had to step up and do something that no one else wanted to do. And I had to do it better than anybody else. And I didn't have to do it better than anybody else because no one else was doing it. I was filling a gap. And sometimes I hated doing it. But you know what? It had impact. And that's what I was after. Because guess what? I wasn't going to do that thing I hated forever. Technology evolves. Things change. You become a SME at something or a subject matter expert. People look to you for advice. You can fix their problems, help other people, help your customers. In return, they're happy. That's it. You have impact. You are being successful. You are marketing yourself. That's another thing. Market yourself. Don't wait around for somebody to recognize it. Showcase your talents all the time at every chance you get. Social media is a perfect example of how you can do that today. In March of 2020, I left Microsoft. My job had been dissolved and I got moved to a CSM position that I absolutely hated. Nothing wrong with CSMs. I'm just saying I am not built to be a CSM. They are a very important part of the infrastructure. I'm not that person. I hated it. I hated my boss. I tried to be the best at it. And guess what? Even though I hated that job, I knew it wasn't forever. Even though I hated that job, I had impact because you know why? Don't tell my old boss. Oh, go ahead. Tell my old boss this. I took risks. I did things that a CSM wasn't supposed to do. I had impact. I still enabled salespeople. I still enabled other sales engineers and TSPs. I wanted to help customers. I wanted to help AEs. I wanted to help SEs, and I did. And this job I hated, I actually got promoted to director. But then I got an opportunity to make even more impact. I got an opportunity to be kind of a big fish in a smaller pond. So I left Microsoft and went to Zoom in 2020. And I was scared. I was real scared. Just like at Microsoft and ESPN and Citrix, there are super smart people at Zoom, smarter than me. But I wanted to have impact, and I took risks, and I tried things that I was probably not supposed to do, but I did it anyway. But when you take that risk, you better have impact. If you don't, you're not going to probably last long. So when you take those risks, calculate them. They better showcase your talent, and they damn well better help the customer and help your AEs and help your sales force or help your team overall. I wasn't hired to do social media at Zoom. That was not my job. It's honestly still not my job. But I enjoyed doing it, and guess what? I took a risk. I have impact. I make impact. I make customers happy. I make sales teams happy. I make engineers happy by trying to help them. That's it. It's not really a complicated formula. The help you're giving should have impact as well as have an end goal. The end goal should be making people happy, doing the right thing. Some people are going to say, I don't know what the right thing to do is. I got some advice one time from an old man. He's like, just do the nice thing then. Most of the time, the nice thing is the right thing. That simplified it for me. So I don't worry about doing the right thing anymore. I worry about doing the nice thing a lot of times. And that typically is the right thing. So how do you be successful? I think hopefully you've been listening. Take risks. Fill gaps. Make people happy. Do the right thing. Do the nice thing. It's not super complicated. There is no easy button. You have to put work in. And that's just not 40 hours and you check out and go home. That's not how it happens. Because guess what? Somebody else is putting in more. Do I say put in 80? No, that's not what I'm saying. Work smart, work hard, but work harder than the next guy. Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be 50% or 100% more. Just a little bit more. That's all you have to put in. If there's two guys running away from a bear chasing you, guess what? You don't have to be twice as fast. You just got to be one step faster. I also never say no. That's a problem too. I've had this podcast before. If my calendar is not full, fill it. If AE says he needs help, then look at my calendar, fill it with a meeting. If an SE needs help, then fill it with a meeting. If it's empty, I'm going to do stuff in my own time. So I never say no. Typically, I never say no. Or I try not to anyway. I always try to help. And I don't think I'm better than anybody else either. I'll take calls that I probably shouldn't take, like troubleshooting calls. I'm a distinguished architect. I probably could say no to those, but I don't. I'll fix simple stuff like troubleshoot stuff with customers still to this day. Is it beneath me? I don't think so, because guess what? I'm having impact, I'm doing the nice thing, and I'm making people happy. Those are all levels of success to me. That's what I think everyone should do. But no, not everyone does that. I don't know, just ramblings of an old man, I guess. I sound like my grandfather and the way he used to talk to me when I lived on a farm. Anyway, I'm Patrick Kelly, the Tattooed Nerd. Have a great day.